Hey, welcome to Inspiration Station, where it's safe to exercise your soul and together we get fit to create. I'm Karina, founder of Koi Compositions, and Inspiration Station is a resource for you to rely on anytime you're feeling drained or if your creativity pool is depleted. This is for you to use whenever you need encouragement or a reminder to believe in you. The previous episodes have highlighted principles of creativity, and today is the first tool that I'm talking about, which is journaling. This is the first tool that I'm sharing because it's the first one, aside from daily practice, that I found to truly influence my creativity and how I related to it in my life. When I was a child, I tried journaling. I tried writing down what I did every day. And I'd maybe get 10 pages in before that journal would just sit there and the rest of it is empty and blank. And I was not very good at being disciplined at that. So I kind of just gave up on it. Journaling came back to me at a time where I was really struggling. It was after I was married. I had my second baby. I was really struggling with feeling connected to anyone, to myself, to my kids, to my family. And a friend of mine suggested that I try journaling. And I was like, haha, no, that has never worked for me ever. And she was like, no, there's lots that you can do with journaling. There's lots of different kinds of journaling. And a journaling that she had tried and had started doing that had been helping her was called bullet journaling. And I looked it up and it was very task-oriented, like writing down tasks, checking them off when they're done, moving them over to a page with certain symbols. It didn't look very appealing to me at all, but she was very generous and shared pictures with me through text of what her journal looked like, different parts of her journal. There was a part in there to rate how she was feeling each day, and there was a part in there to talk about her favorite moments, kind of like a gratitude bit. And there was a habit tracker that she had started and then scribbled the entire page out, which to me, I was like, blasphemy. You can't just scratch out an entire page. It has to look beautiful and perfect if you're going to do this kind of thing. She was like, no, I can change. Like, it's my journal. I can change it to best suit my needs. And that idea was just huge for me. That was mind expanding. She taught me that you don't need to be confined to the journal, that I didn't need to be tethered to the cleanness and beauty of the page. It was my journal. I could do what I wanted with my journal, and if a part of it wasn't working, I could scribble it out or I could rip it out and I could just start something different. This was so intriguing to me. I love notebooks. I had so many notebooks. I still have so many notebooks that are empty that just look pretty. I love notebooks and I love pens and I have a huge excess of them. But I wasn't really doing anything with them. They were supposed to be for super special, important, perfectly done things that I was going to do in the future. That doesn't happen. When you have something like that in mind, it almost never happens, at least in my experience. If you have the ability to actually carry out those perfect, beautiful visions in your future plans, you're amazing. That's great. I can't do that. I have to go through very messy processes in order to get there. So I started trying to do this. I tried figuring it out, what exactly would benefit me in a journal. It helped me find my path back to connecting because I started connecting with myself first. So I want to share with you different kinds of journaling so that you can find what works best for you. There's more to explore for sure. The point is to just start exploring. So there is a daily accounting. Like we said, this morning I woke up at 7 o'clock and I had toast for breakfast and you just continue just listing out everything that you did every day. There's the bullet journal, which is the task-oriented one that we talked about. There's a gratitude journal where you write down 1 to 3 things every day that you were grateful for, doesn't matter how big or small. And this has been amazing. I love doing gratitude journals. It makes the biggest difference in my life because the more you express gratitude, the more you notice things to be grateful for. It's really neat. There is a memory journal, things that you just want to make sure you remember. How it felt when the weather was perfect and I went for a walk outside, or being able to visit with family, or a conversation that I had, or a vacation that I took. There are art journals, and there are so many different kinds of art journals. They're really fun. They're really, really fun. There's quote journals, which I also love. I love quotes. I love collecting quotes and learning from people, and so I write them down. There's a dream journal, which I've never really been good at, but I do have a friend who is amazing at writing their dreams down when they wake up every morning. It's really, really cool. It's a skill that I wish I was better at. Travel journal, being able to write down places you've been to, places you want to go to, things that you've seen and explored. There's a food journal, which can be used to track everything that you eat for health purposes, but it can also be used to write down your favorite recipes or something that you had at a restaurant that just blew your taste buds out of this world, and find inspiration in that some other time. So these are some kinds of journals that exist that you can peruse. The first and most important thing is, does this help you? Does this feel good for you? Because I think everyone connects to what they write in different ways. Natalie Goldberg said, "What's important is that you're having a relationship with your mind." I love that. The idea that you're having a relationship with what you think and what you feel. Journaling helps you give space to self-reflect and to just internalize things. Benefits. Let's start with the scientific benefits for science. Science has found that journaling reduces the impact of stressors on your body and on your immune system. I mean, how cool is that? You get less sick when you journal because it reduces stress and increases the productivity of your immune system. It also activates the left brain while simultaneously allowing the right brain to just feel. So it's a whole brained activity. But while one is working hard, the other one is allowed space to just process what it's going through. And an important thing to note about this, in order for this to occur, you need to sidestep judgment. You can't be judging every little thing that you write. It's a safe space. It's a safe space for you to express whatever it is you need to express. And science also shows that it gives clarity in your thoughts and emotions. Now for art and creativity. Benefits that I've personally seen in my own creativity with journaling is an enhanced ability to problem solve. If I have a problem and I'm stuck, usually I gratitude journal or I do an art journal and kind of just let my mind unravel that way. And when I come back, the problem is so much easier to solve every time. It doesn't even matter what kind of problem it is. It doesn't have to be creativity related. Journaling helps that. It gives me greater focus. It's a great idea generator and helps me have a space for brainstorming. And real quick, I just want to share the rules of brainstorming because I think this is really important as a creative person to be able to understand how brainstorming can help you. And so when you are brainstorming, every idea that you have gets written down. Does not matter how ridiculous it is, doesn't matter how far-fetched it is, if it would work, if it would match the project brief. It doesn't matter. Every single idea at the beginning of brainstorming is valid. Instead of judging things and being like, oh, that's such a stupid idea, but I guess I'll write it down. No. You say, wow, brain, you are so good at coming up with ridiculous ideas. I love it. And you write it down. And then after you have this good pool to work from, then you can start judging and analyzing them. And by that, I do not mean, wow, yeah, that was a stupid idea. No, that kind of judging is not allowed. It's more just, would this work or would this not work? There's no good or bad associated to it. What I do is I go through, and anything that I do not have an emotional reaction to, I cross it out. Great idea, but it just doesn't work this time. I'm not feeling it. If it's something that's intriguing, but I don't know exactly how it would work, I circle it. And if it's something that I love and have an immediate emotional reaction to, I star. And you can come up with your own way of doing it, but that's just how I work through it. Anyways, journaling has given me a wonderful place to brainstorm. Journaling has helped me discover how I feel. Sometimes I don't always know how I'm feeling. I feel like that. Journaling helps me work through those incoherent sounds. This helps me build a relationship of self-compassion with myself. And I have not always cared about that relationship. For the majority of my life, I focused on cultivating a relationship of criticism and perfectionism towards myself. If I couldn't do it perfectly, then I didn't want to do it. Or I would do it and just be super critical every step of the way. For example, I've wanted to do this project, Inspiration Station, for 2 years. But I was too critical of myself. I didn't know how to do every single part of it. Why would that work? Of course it wouldn't work. I don't know how to do everything, so it's just never going to work. No one's ever going to listen to it. All of these critical thoughts that stopped me from doing it. And self-compassion and developing this relationship of self-compassion through journaling has changed my inner voice. That does not mean that perfectionism has gone away. Perfectionism and self-compassion have some pretty epic battles in my brain sometimes, in the conversations and arguments that they have with each other. But finally and wonderfully, after 2 years, self-compassion was able to win out with this project, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad that it did that, and that I was able to cultivate that. And journaling has been a huge part in being able to build that for myself. It doesn't have to be done all at once. The point of brainstorming is that it gives your brain time to work through the storm. And storms always pass eventually. There's never a storm ever in the entire planet that just stays in perpetuity. So if we give our brain space for the storm to occur, eventually it'll move past and the skies will clear and everything shines brightly. So, how do we get started in journaling? In the description of this video, I have a blog link for you to go to that has a lot of different types of journaling, even more than what I have said here, and ways to use them and ways to get into them. So that can be a great resource for you to explore and figure out what excites you and what you want to try to get started with. But really, journaling is just an experiment of what works and what doesn't work. So, much like my friend said to me, you are not confined to the pages of the journal and whatever you put on page 1. It's about creating a journal for you. It's yours. It's a tool that is meant to help you. You are not confined to any one way to use it. And I think that's really exciting. You get to make it whatever it's going to be. And it's okay if it starts out as a daily accounting and then morphs into a memory journal. Or it's okay if you have something you're grateful for next to your favorite foods. Or if there's art doodles and scribbles next to academic notes that you wrote down while you were listening to a podcast. Whatever it is. It's allowed to hold whatever is inside of you. There's a lot inside of you. All you are doing is creating a space to hold parts of that and to treat them as sacred and to help your mind and soul know that these are important things to you. When we write things down, we are showing our mind, we're teaching our brain that these are important. and that we want to not only remember them better, but act on them more. The most important thing is to have a place where you can freely bare your soul and recognize it. And if you're like me, you have plenty of blank notebooks in your house to choose from. Another thing that I like is finding a notebook that I'm happy to write in. If it looks boring, I don't like it. And maybe that doesn't bother you. But I like being excited when I look at the notebook. I also like having it be a size that I can fit in any of my purses that I use frequently, so that I can take it with me wherever I go. So it's not too bulky and it doesn't get in the way, and it's just always an option to have with me. So that helps also. I hope you have fun experimenting with these different kinds of journaling. I hope you're able to find something that lights up your soul, that lights up your mind, that helps you create this relationship with yourself and gives you an opportunity to better appreciate the life that you're already living. That's what it does. That's what the point is. I believe that every single person has something within them that's worth writing down. I believe that your soul is worth recognizing. The audience doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's just for you or if it's for your posterity or if it's for your audience or anyone else to read eventually down the line. That doesn't matter. What is important is that you are able to create a space for you to explore who you are. And I'm excited. I'm excited for you to find that. What matters most is that you're able to see a physical manifestation of part of your soul. I believe that this helps our creativity because it allows us to recognize our vulnerability. It helps us to recognize the impacts and influences that we not only receive, but that we become on the world around us. And it helps us to better appreciate the life that we are currently living. And that's worth appreciating. It's worth giving time to. And if you have found that and you have a way that you journal that just gets you so pumped up, I would love for you to share it with me. I'd love to hear about it. I'm excited to talk to you again soon. Until then, stay creative. Thank you so much to my patrons for their support, which enables me the freedom to make the content I want. And a special thanks to you for listening. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss any releases. And if you want to support me and my channel, you can become a patron at patreon.com/koicompositions.